Welcome back to another tabletop review. Today we'll look at the Ruger P95 DC. Not that long ago I reviewed a friend of mine's Ruger P90 45 pistol. Great gun that was produced through the 90s till about 2013. Although the P90 was a big tank of a gun, I found I really liked it. In fact, I added it to my wish list. That led to my finding this 9mm Ruger P95 DC at an auction. DC stands for Deconquer. I liked that it was a 9mm. I knew ammo wouldn't be a problem. I also liked that it had an accessory rail on the frame. It wasn't the P90 45, but I decided to bid on it anyhow. My research into the Ruger P series suggested it would be a good one, and I sort of liked its unique muzzle and two-tone looks. I wasn't expecting to win the bid, but that's what happened. So here it is. Okay, now I may have gotten this at a great price, but is it a great gun? Let's make sure this gun is cleared first. By the way, if you enjoy this review, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. The first thing I'll say about this gun is that, like the P90, this P95 is thick, bulky, and a bit heavy, weighing 2 1/4 pounds fully loaded. It may not be as much of a tank as the P90, but I'd say it's still a chunky design. Larger than the Smith & Wesson M&P 9C, but shorter and much thicker than the Browning High Power. It's about the same size as the Walther PPQ. The Ruger P95 DC is a polymer framed double stack carrying 15 rounds in the mag. The P95 was produced between 1996 until about 2013. Now let me just say here that while you hear a lot about how heavy and bulky this gun is, it's almost the same size and weight as the Walther PPQ. Yet you don't hear that said about the Walther. I think it may be due to the P95's thickness and large slide release. One of the things you hear said about the Ruger P series guns is that they're some of the best guns Ruger ever made. I'm not sure if I can prove or disprove that, but there's no doubt these guns seem to be ruggedly built and of good quality, and the P series was in production for more than 20 years and unquestionably represented an excellent value. As a used gun, I broke this gun down for a thorough cleaning and inspection before I took it to the range. I find that most used guns I buy are fairly dirty when I get them, and this was the case with the P95, but it cleaned up just fine and shows little signs of wear. Well, as a used gun, all that I got when I bought this was the gun itself, no box or a manual. Not even a magazine came with this gun, but 15 round flush magazine was readily available for about $30. The P95 originally came in a plastic case with a Ruger lock, 2 magazines, and a magazine loader. I've covered the background of the Sturm Ruger company in depth in previous videos, so I'll skip that in this video. If you're interested, I do cover a good amount of background on the Ruger P series in the P90 video I made earlier, so check that out if you want to learn more. One of the big differences you see in the P95 is the polymer frame. All earlier models like the P85, P89, P90, P91, P93, and P94 had investment cast aluminum frames. The P95 was Ruger's first fiberglass reinforced polymer frame, so it's a bit heavy but very rugged with strong ribbing on the grips. This gun is about 20 years old, yet the frame still looks like new. Note that the slide rides directly on the frame's rail slots without any metal reinforcements. No sign of wear. Very impressive. I usually prefer metal frames, but this one's not too bad, and it's the direction a lot of gun manufacturers have gone. Now, if I know a movie connection for a classic firearm, I try to include that information in my review. As for the Ruger P95, it's been in a number of films, but I'll only mention a couple of the most popular here. The 2016 film Patriots Day, and the 2003 film Gothika, in which the heroine, Halle Berry, as Miranda Gray, wields a P95. As for specifications, the Ruger P95 DC is a 9mm 15 round semi-automatic pistol. Again, the DC stands for decocker, and the P95 was also available in a safety decocker version, as well as a double action only model, and also a PR model, which stood for Picatinny rail, which also had a safety decocker. Although this one has the rail, it's just the DC model. The P95 is a hammer-fired lock breech short recoil with tilting barrel design. Sights are combat 3-dot, low-profile steel. The rear sight is adjustable for windage. Barrel length is 3.9 inches. The slide has a matte steel finish. Overall length is 7.2 inches. Width is 1.3 inches, but 1.4 inches at the slide release. Height is 5.75 inches. The frame is a fiberglass strand reinforced polymer with a Picatinny rail. Earlier P95s did not have the rail. Grips are rib polymer. The slide release is here, and it's quite pronounced and large. There are serrations on the rear of the slide ahead of the decocker and on the decocker as well. The mag release is ambidextrous and located here. You push forward to release it. The magazine is 15 round plus 1. Magazines of 10, 17, 20, and 30 rounds are also available. As for safety, this model has no safety. This one has the pronounced ambidextrous decocker instead. As for trigger pull, this is a double single action pistol. Double action is about 10 pounds, single action is about 4 pounds. The unloaded weight is 29.6 ounces, fully loaded 36 ounces. Having had a really great experience with the P90, I'll admit my expectations were very high with the P95. And indeed, my overall range experiences with the Ruger P95 DC were basically good. Okay, this is not an elegant pistol. It's thick and sort of chunky in design. I have large hands and long fingers, so this big gun feels okay to me, although I'm not a big fan of these rib polymer grips. The surface stippling helps, but the square shape and texture are just a bit off for me. Not as nice as the P90, even before the addition of the P90's Hogue grips. The overall weight is good, although a little top-heavy. It may not be a gun that everyone would like, but like I said about the P90, it doesn't really feel as bulky when you're on the range. It feels substantial and solid. The magazine release is a little strange. It pushes forward and the mag comes flying out. This is a Ruger magazine. It's sturdy and appears well made, but loading the magazine was stiff just after a few rounds, so I had to rely on my Uplula mag loader to help with the job. Racking the slide took little effort, even with the hammer down. Silky smooth and light. Very, very good feel. As for the P95's trigger, this gun can be fired double action or single action. In double action mode, the trigger pull is rated at about 10 pounds. The pull is long and smooth with a good solid break. In single action mode, the trigger is rated at 4 pounds. And reset is short and crisp. It's certainly not as good as the trigger of my Walther PPQ, but it's still very good. The slide release is large and easy to operate. However, as I've said in other videos, I try not to release the slide on my guns just using a slide release. It's better for the gun and better for defensive habit to drive the magazine home with your palm and release the slide by racking in what's called the tap, rack, and go procedure. If your habit is to charge the gun by releasing the slide release on its own, however, this gun is a great gun to own. It's so robustly built, I don't think you have to worry about damaging the gun. The sights are metal combat low profile. They are simple but adequate 3-dot and allow for quick target acquisition. Personally, I prefer a little larger dots, but I do like the adjustable rear sight. This gun was spot on in the range. Like its big brother, the P90, the P95 is very comfortable to shoot, very soft with minimal recoil. And even though this gun has a Picatinny rail, I didn't attach a laser for the range strip, but I did try a laser tactical light combo later, and I liked how it looked and fit. Nice to have that option. Obviously, since this gun only has a decocker, no safety, if there's a round in the chamber, it should only be carried decocked. When decocked, the gun can still be fired, but in double action mode with its longer, heavier trigger action. By the way, because of its size and weight, I don't really see this gun as a good concealed carry option. But as an open carry, or range, or home defense, or truck gun, absolutely. Well, I can still get 9mm target range ammo fairly easily for about 50 cents a round, so I splurged for a couple of boxes of Federal 115 grain ammo. Now, I know it's not a competition gun, but I could maintain a reasonable spread at 15 yards. Not too bad. Close up at 24 feet, things were even better, of course. These P95s are known for their reliability, so not surprisingly, I could cycle through 2 boxes of rounds without a single problem. More importantly, the gun was soft to shoot with minimal recoil. However, like the Beretta M9, I could hardly wait to get that first long pull shot off so I could get to the single action trigger. Now, there's no doubt that this gun has a silky, smooth, solid operation and feels like it means business, but the ergonomics just weren't the best for me. Compared to the P9045 with its Hogue grips, which I really liked, this gun just seems top-heavy, chunky, and a little off for me. It took me a while to realize it was the thick, ribbed surface on these boxy polymer grips. They're not bad, just not for me. Still, I'll admit, it's a heck of a gun for the money. As for cons, I really don't have any big ones, but my obvious observation is this gun's overall bulkiness. That might be a problem for some. It's not an easy gun for concealed carry. The slide release is big and sticks out a bit, as does the ambidextrous mag release, and the push-forward magazine release is different. Might take some getting used to. It also provides a little sharpness onto the inside of my middle finger when gripped. The decocker action seems harsh. Also, it's rather dated in its appearance. Finally, to state the obvious, it's no longer in production, so support and aftermarket options could become a challenge in the future, but currently, no problem. There's a lot out there. As for pros, the P95 is robustly built and has demonstrated excellent reliability. I think you can expect this gun to really last even under hard use. It might be an old-school, bulky gun, but there's no denying the quality in its construction. The fiberglass reinforced polymer frame is extremely strong and durable. As I said before, I personally prefer metal frames, but this reinforced polymer frame is really tough. You could probably hammer nails with it. The gun's got a really nice trigger and smooth action, and it's also a soft shooter. I like the double single action function, and I really like the Picatinny rail. Now, I know people tend to either really like or dislike this gun, often due to its looks, but I was able to get this gun at a really good price, and it feels okay. It's indeed very comfortable to shoot. It's got a decent trigger, holds 15 rounds, and even up to 30 round mags are available. Its operation is very, very smooth. Okay, I'm not crazy about the grips, but I can always add a set of Talon grips in the future, which I think might help, or even a Hogue grip sleeve. Either can be had for under $30. Disassembly is fairly straightforward. We're going to remove the magazine, bring the slide back, lock it in place. This little unit right here is the ejector. We're going to push it down out of the way. That's so we can remove the slide. And then the slide stop and the pin that this rides on, you can see it on either side here. We're just going to push that down after we bring it back to where that half moon is in alignment with the back of that pin. And we can push that out a little bit, grab it, and remove it. And that allows us now to remove the slide. It has a captured double spring on the rod there, and then we can remove the barrel. And that's it. Reassembly is the opposite. We're going to return the barrel to the slide, the spring and the rod to the slide here, and in place like that. Return the slide to the frame, and again this ejector needs to be pushed down. That allows us to bring that slide back to where that pin, the back part of this pin, is going to line up with that half moon of the slide. Once it's back there, we can push it in place and then return the magazine, and that's it. As for cost, when Ruger brought the SR series out as expected, people traded their dated P series guns in, and so a few years ago you'd see these used Ruger P series guns out there everywhere. They were and remain very popular. In fact, today you hear a lot of "I regret having traded off my Ruger P series gun" comments out there. However, with fewer and fewer used guns on the market, you probably don't see as many P series guns these days, but they're still out there. Ruger ended production of its P series in 2013, so what you're going to find are going to be used guns. But I wouldn't worry about buying a used one of these. They're just that well built. Overall, the P series guns have enjoyed good reviews, and as I said, today they appear to be regaining some attention. And guns like the P95 continue to represent a really good value for what you get. The original manufacturer suggested retail on the P95 was $349, but back in the day, you could find sales for under $300. In today's market, the average used gun cost of the Ruger P95 is about $350. If you see one for about $275 to $300, that'd be a good price. Now, before we end today's video, I'd like to remind you, if you haven't already, be sure to like, share, and subscribe down below. And thanks for watching. So let's wrap this up. Ruger ended the P series back in 2013 to replace it with their SR series. There are those that believe that Ruger should have continued to offer the P series pistols, and at very least Ruger ought to bring them back today. I'm not so sure I'd go that far. The design is bulky and dated. I think the P95, with its fiberglass reinforced polymer frame and Picatinny rail, offers a good attempt at addressing the developing needs of the market. But it's obvious to me that Ruger probably did the right thing from a business perspective in transitioning over to their SR series. In addition, my preference for all metal guns leaves me with the conclusion that the P95 falls a little short compared to the P90. But there's little doubt that the P95 continues to represent a popular, well-made, rugged, high-quality double-stack 9mm firearm at a heck of a great price. When it comes to value, it would be hard to do better. So I began this review by telling you I got this Ruger P95 DC through an auction for a really good price. In fact, you can probably pick one of these up yourself for about $300 to $250, maybe even less, which is fine. But do I think it's a good firearm is the question. I've had this P95 DC for a few months now, and I've had it to the range several times. How good is it really? Well, if you ask me if I like it better than the .45 caliber Ruger P90 I featured in an earlier review, honestly, I don't think so. But they're really different types of guns. And yes, I still want the P90. Would I say it's as good a double-stack 9mm as my Walther PPQ or Browning High Power? Again, I don't think so. But again, I'm not sure it's the right comparison. Keep in mind, you can get a P95 for about half or a third the cost of either of those, and the P95 really is a quality firearm. But do I think the P95 DC is a good gun? Yes, overall, I do. And while the Ruger P95 DC may be an unattractive 90s gun, and its style a bit dated, and although it may not make a very good everyday concealed carry weapon for most people, there's no doubt about its outstanding quality and value. With my addition of a Hogue grip sleeve, I'd even overcome my dislike of the P95's grips. This is so much better. With its excellent reliability, Picatinny rail, double single action, soft shooting characteristics, silky smooth operation, and really good trigger, I think it'd make a really good truck gun or home defense firearm, especially with a green laser tactical light combo added, which is probably how I'll use this firearm in the future. And for that, I think it's perfect. Any weapon you carry is better than the one you left at home. Thanks for watching. Hope you'll be back for my next tabletop review. Until next time, stay safe.